to license the...
Meep, meep.
Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a 1:56 scale Matchbox MGF 1.8i. I'm holding a little fuel injection sports car in my hands right now. Mine's from 1997, and it's in good condition, except for cosmetically. As you can see, it's been scruffed up a good deal, which simply means it's been well played with. I'll certainly keep these original wheels, and the windshield is reusable. The color change is in the cards for today, and I promise it'll end up looking just as cute and a whole lot newer when I'm finished. I had already drilled out the posts before this disassembly, and everything comes out very well. There's a couple of rivets here holding in the windshield, so some careful drilling so as not to go too deep or through the hood of the car, and a little bit of gentle persuasion with a flat screwdriver, and it comes out beautifully. It's got some scuffs and marks on it, but no damage, so I think that should clean up very nicely today. I changed drill bits, and this is simply a number 1 size to drill out these posts so that they'll be able to take a couple of M2 256 size screws, which is what I'll use to put this back together at the other end of the process. This is a fairly potent paint stripping gel. I haven't tried caustic soda yet, I simply don't have any. And while the paint stripper is doing its job, I usually take these into do a little parts washing. I live and work in Switzerland these days, but I've come from Canada, and my wife comes from Austria. And there are some cultural differences between us that are funny. Sometimes I'll be watching YouTube and I enjoy ice fishing. And my wife will come up and look over my shoulder, and after a couple of moments she'll say, "You know, there's only one thing crazier than ice fishing." And that's watching somebody ice fishing on YouTube. And she probably has a pretty solid point there, but you know what you're doing right now? You're watching a guy wash plastic parts from a toy car, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I enjoyed doing it. Give it a thumbs up if you're having fun, and if you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, hit the button in the lower right corner of the screen and the notification bell as well, so that you won't miss any of the regularly updated new content. All the hard work on that windshield paid off. It looks brand new. I put a little cup over there to let it dry so no dust particles land on it, and let's take a peek at the paint stripper. And it did a marvelous job in a fairly short time. And when I'm finished with the toothbrush, I pack it all up and take it to the laundry room tub adjacent to my hobby room and give it a good brushing with a stiff bristle brush. And here's how much was left. A little bit of residual paint on there, but that's no concern. I'll go to work with the wire brushes and that will come off in short order. The MGF is a mid-engine, rear-wheel drive roadster. and it was sold under the MG marque by 3 different manufacturers between 1995 and 2011. This MGF was the first new model designed as an MG since the MGB that was produced from 1962 to 1980. And the car was initially designed by the Rover Group during the period that it was owned by British Aerospace, and was brought to market after the business had been sold to BMW. It was mainly competition for the Mazda MX-5 and the Lotus Elan. The MGF was produced from 1995 to 2000 when BMW broke up the Rover Group. From 2000 onwards, the newly formed and independent MG Rover business manufactured the MGF. The company folded in 2005, resulting in the production of the MG TF model ceasing. And the remains of the MG Rover business were sold to Nanjing Automobile, and the MG TF resumed production in 2007, but by then, heavily outdated, was not a great sales success, and production ceased for a second and final time in 2011. That little bit of wet sanding was necessary after the second or third coat of paint just to smooth it out and give it a nicer finish. The only unique part of the reassembly with this car was using a hot glue gun to put a couple of dollops of glue where the rivets holding the windshield used to be, and it will also be held in place by this interior seat structure pressed up against it, like you see I'm doing here right now. And as I said, I had a pretty good idea that I would reuse these wheels because they were in really nice shape, so they go back in simply having had a cleaning in hot soapy water, as did the base. And I think the black makes a very sharp contrast to the nice new yellow paint job. Now all that's left is a little bit of detail on the outside, and so very carefully, the finest detail paintbrush that I've got, I do some headlights on the front in chrome. This is maybe the most nerve-wracking part of the restoration process, because if you blow it here, you can always do a paint touch-up, but that's just fingernail biting time. I guess my mantra here is go slow, be careful, so you don't have to go slow and be careful again. And the best tool in my whole workbench is a toothpick in this hobby. Sometimes even the finest brush is not small enough to do those door handles and gas caps. Now these taillights I do in chrome first, and then I'm going to go over top of it with a translucent red, and it'll just show up a little bit better than doing the red directly onto the body color. And it's all finished up, so let's have a look. I did some side vents in the front grille with a kind of a black wash. Original wheels went back on and the windshield cleaned up very nicely. I like to do a little custom license plate if I can. And this is MLMM car number 39. Here's what we started with this morning. Scruffed up and worn out, which translates to well loved, but now looking brand new. Thanks for visiting today, and I hope you enjoyed this makeover. Give it a thumbs up, become my newest subscriber, and come back often. It's coffee time.